Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm so excited for today's deep dive because we're tackling something I think we've all been thinking about.
Oh, yeah,
Why travel feels more important now than ever.
definitely.
And get this,
Okay.
our jumping off point is this Forbes article from
Mhm.
2018.
Interesting.
But honestly, it's
Yeah.
like it was written for today.
Really?
It's that relevant.
Wow.
So basically, it dives into how travel can be
Uh,
like
in-
an antidote to fear.
That's
It
intriguing.
talks about all the surprising things we learn about other cultures by actually going there,
Yeah.
not just reading about them.
Right.
And get this,
Okay.
it even argues that travel can make us more informed and free.
Hmm. That's a bold claim.
It is.
I'm curious.
And hold on to your hats,
Okay.
because there's this killer Mark Twain quote that basically sums up the whole thing.
Okay, you're really reeling me in now.
I know, right? By the end, you'll be ready to book a flight, I guarantee.
All right, let's dive in.
So the article starts off by acknowledging something I think we can all relate to.
Okay, what's that?
With all the news and everything,
Mm-hmm.
it can feel like the world's a pretty scary place sometimes.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Right. It's a constant information overload.
Totally.
And honestly, with all the technology and social media and everything,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of ironic because we're more connected than ever, but also more isolated.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I do.
It's like we end up in these echo chambers
Yeah.
where we only see what reinforces our existing beliefs.
It can be tough to break out of those.
It is. And then it becomes harder to know what to actually trust.
Exactly.
But then the article throws his curveball and says, hey, guess what? Travel is the antidote to all that fear.
Oh, interesting.
Right. And
Yeah.
think about it.
Oh,
A
yeah.
lot of people who don't travel,
Yeah.
their fears are based on like outdated news or rumors or stuff they've heard.
Oh, I see.
But people who do travel, they actually tend to become less fearful the more they explore.
That makes sense.
It does, right.
Yeah. I mean, if you're constantly exposed to new things and new people, it kind of recalibrates your sense of what's actually dangerous.
Exactly. That's like that whole thing about the amygdala.
Oh, yeah. The part of the brain that processes fear.
Right. So when we encounter new stuff, especially a safe environment like,
Mm-hmm.
traveling often is, it helps us reassess our perception of threats.
I like to think of it as a workout for your fear response.
Haha, I love that. It's like instead of just reading a headline,
Yeah.
you're actually experiencing a place with all your senses.
Right. You're getting the full picture.
You're not just relying on someone else's interpretation.
It's firsthand knowledge.
Exactly. Have you ever been surprised by a place after actually traveling there? Like maybe it wasn't at all what you expected.
Oh, absolutely. All the time. It just goes to show you how much our perceptions can be shaped by limited information.
I know. I remember going to Morocco and being a little nervous beforehand.
Really?
It's-
What about...
I know. I guess I had this idea that maybe I wouldn't feel welcome or something.
Interesting.
But honestly,
Yeah.
it was the complete opposite.
How so?
Everyone was so incredibly kind and hospitable,
That's great.
and I felt totally safe and immersed in this amazing culture that was so different from what I had imagined.
That's a perfect example of how travel can shatter stereotypes.
It is, right.
We often form judgments about entire cultures based on such limited information.
It's true. But then you actually meet people face to face.
Yeah.
You share meals, you navigate new environments together.
And suddenly those preconceptions just crumble.
Exactly. And the article makes this point.
Oh, tell me.
The author says, demonizing strangers is easy.
Okay.
It is harder to demonize friends.
That's so true.
Isn't it? It's like this simple statement, but it really gets at the heart of how personal connection can change everything.
It's about recognizing our shared humanity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about how we can all be these informal ambassadors for good.
I like that term.
Right. Just by sharing our travel experiences and showing people a different side of the world.
It's about counterbalancing the negativity we're so often bombarded with.
Exactly. Think about it.
Okay.
How much news focuses on conflict and negativity?
A lot, unfortunately.
Right. It's easy to get a skewed view if that's all you see.
Absolutely.
But travelers see the everyday kindness, the generosity, all the good stuff that's happening too.
And that's what we need to share more of.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not just about blindly accepting everything you see either.
I was just thinking that.
It's about being open-minded and forming your own opinions based on your experiences.
It's about engaging with the world critically.
That's it. And that actually leads into another really interesting point the article makes.
I'm listening.
The connection between travel, freedom, and critical thinking.
Ooh, That sounds juicy.
It is. It's
Yeah.
basically saying that travel isn't just about the physical freedom to go places, but also this mental freedom to think differently.
So it's like travel gives you this new lens to see the world through.
Exactly. And it gives you all these new experiences and perspectives that you can then use to analyze information and make decisions.
It's like a mental workout for critical thinking.
Right. Like instead of just following the crowd or accepting things at face value,
Yeah.
travel empowers you to question things and make up your own mind.
It's about breaking free from those constraints and really blazing your own trail.
Yes. And you know what?
Mm.
The article even contrasts this with what it calls mindless patriotism.
Interesting.
It's not about rejecting your home country or anything,
Okay.
but it's about engaging with the world and questioning everything, even your own beliefs.
It's about forming your own conclusions based on your experiences.
Exactly. And you know what's so cool?
What?
We're just getting started.
Oh, really?
In the next part of our deep dive,
Okay.
we're going to talk about this amazing Mark Twain quote that sums up everything we've been talking about.
Ooh, I can't wait.
It's going to blow your mind.
I'm ready.
Okay, buckle up.
Let's go. Okay, are you ready for this Mark Twain quote?
Hit me with it.
All right. He said, and I quote, "Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all one's lifetime."
Whoa. Okay, he did not hold back.
Nope. Straight to the point.
It's like a mic drop moment from over a century ago.
Uh-huh. Right.
But seriously, it's so true.
It really is.
I feel like they should put that on a travel poster.
Honestly, yes.
And it's amazing how relevant it still is today.
You know, I was thinking about that.
Right. It's like he anticipated these echo chambers and filter bubbles we've built with technology.
It's true. Back then, it was literally staying in one place. But now you can do it mentally, even when you're physically traveling.
Such a good point. You can be surrounded by people from all over the world, but still only interact with those who share your exact views.
Totally.
But true travel, the kind Twain is talking about,
Yeah.
that forces us out of that comfort zone.
It pushes you to grow.
It does. He's not just talking about sightseeing here.
I agree.
He's talking about how travel can transform you as a person.
From the inside out.
Yes. Challenging your assumptions, confronting your biases.
Becoming more open-minded.
It's all about expanding your capacity for understanding and empathy.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And you can't do that if you're stuck in just one mindset.
You gotta get out there.
You do. He even uses the word fatal,
Oh, yeah.
like travel kills off prejudice.
It's powerful.
It is. It's like an act of self-defense
I know, I like that.
for our minds.
Self-defense for the mind.
That's it. And it ties into what we were talking about before,
Okay.
how travel can make us better decision makers.
It equips you with the tools.
It does. Not just about our travel plans either.
Oh, this is bigger.
It is. It's about life in general.
That's amazing.
It is. It's about becoming more aware of different perspectives, understanding that there's not always one right answer.
And being open to learning from others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So instead of just blindly following the crowd or accepting the status quo,
Yeah.
travel can help you break free from those constraints.
And think for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And make your own choices.
It's liberating.
It is. And the article even compares this to what it calls mindless patriotism,
Right. I remember that.
which, let me be clear, is not about rejecting where you come from.
Okay.
It's more about engaging with the world,
Oh, I see.
questioning everything, even your own beliefs.
Forming your own opinions.
That's it. It's not just about escaping your own world.
I get it.
It's about using what you learn out there
Hmm.
to understand it better.
And maybe even your own home in a new way.
Exactly. Sometimes it means challenging your own preconceived notions
About anything.
about anything, even about your own country.
That can be tough,
It can be.
but it's important.
It is. And you know what? Travel isn't always easy or comfortable.
What do you mean?
It can be challenging,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even uncomfortable.
In what way?
It can push you out of your comfort zone, make you question things you thought you were sure about.
That's the point, though, isn't it?
It is. But the author makes a good point.
What's that?
Travel's not some magic cure-all.
Oh, of course not.
It doesn't automatically make you a better person.
Right. You have to put in the work.
Exactly. It's not about just racking up passport stamps.
It's about the inner journey.
It is. It's about what you take away from those experiences.
The growth.
The growth.
Mm-hmm.
The potential that travel unlocks.
I love that. It's like planting a seed.
It is. Travel provides the fertile ground,
Mm-hmm.
but it's up to us to nurture that seed, to allow it to blossom into something meaningful,
Beautiful analogy.
right? It speaks to the active role we have to play in making travel a truly transformative experience.
It's not a passive activity.
It's not. It's not just about passively observing. It's about engaging with the world,
Asking questions.
being curious, allowing yourself to be challenged and changed by what you encounter.
That's where the magic happens.
It is. It's like a conversation, not a lecture,
I love that.
right? You have to be open to hearing different perspectives,
Even if they're uncomfortable.
even if they make you uncomfortable. And that willingness to step outside our comfort zones, to embrace the unknown,
To question our own assumptions.
that's where the real growth happens.
That's where we discover new ways of thinking and being.
And new possibilities for ourselves and the world.
Exactly. It all comes back to that.
It does. You know, we've talked a lot about the impact travel has on our minds,
Mm-hmm.
but it also impacts our understanding of freedom.
That's a powerful connection.
It is. And it brings us back to Mark Twain's quote about the limitations of vegetating in one corner of the earth.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
He's saying that true freedom comes from expanding our horizons,
Getting out there.
experiencing the world beyond our own limited perspectives.
It makes
It does. And I've heard people say travel is a privilege.
right. And for some, it definitely is more accessible than for others.
It is, but that doesn't diminish the core truth.
What's that?
Whether it's near or far, that expansion of perspective,
Yeah,
that's what brings freedom.
I couldn't agree more. And the article builds on that beautifully.
How so?
It suggests that travel can empower us to make more informed choices in all areas of life.
It's not just about our travel plan.
Oh, it goes deeper.
It's about freedom to travel, but also freedom through travel.
That's it. The freedom that comes from knowledge, from understanding,
Yes.
from the ability to think critically and make decisions based on a broader perspective.
Like breaking free from mental and emotional constraints.
Exactly. The things that often limit our potential.
Can you give me an example of what that kind of freedom might look like in real life?
Sure, let's say someone has a strong opinion about a particular political system
Okay.
based on their upbringing or the media they consume.
Mhm.
Then they travel to a country with a completely different system,
Right?
maybe even one they've always viewed negatively.
Okay.
By experiencing that system firsthand, talking to people who live under it, seeing its complexities and nuances,
Yeah.
they might develop a more nuanced understanding.
Even if they don't agree with everything about it.
Exactly. It's about realizing there's not always a black and white answer.
And that different systems work for different people.
Or in different contexts.
Yes. And that realization can be incredibly liberating.
It frees you from a limited worldview,
It helps you embrace the complexity and diversity of human experience.
recognizing that our way isn't the only way.
And that there's value in understanding different approaches.
Absolutely. It's like that saying,
Oh, what is it?
the more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know.
That's so true. And travel can be a humbling experience.
It reminds us there's always more to learn,
More to discover.
more to understand.
And that our own perspective is just one piece of a much larger puzzle.
Beautifully put. Travel helps us shed those illusions of certainty and embrace the beauty of the unknown.
It encourages us to approach the world with a sense of wonder and humility.
Recognizing there's always more to learn and experience.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From the power of travel to break down stereotypes and combat fear, to its ability to foster understanding
Enhance critical thinking.
and even expand our sense of freedom.
It's a powerful force.
It is. But before we get too carried away with all these grand ideas,
Yeah.
let's bring it back down to earth for a moment.
Okay.
In the final part of our deep dive, I want to ask you a question
Okay, shoot.
that might just spark your next adventure.
All right, I'm intrigued.
So think about a place you've always wanted to go,
Okay.
somewhere that's been on your mind, maybe even a dream trip. Got it.
Yeah, I'm picturing it.
Okay, now what are some of the preconceived notions you might have about that place?
Oh, preconceived notions.
Yeah, things you've heard, images you've seen. How do those shape your perception of that place?
Interesting question.
And how could actually experiencing it firsthand challenge those ideas?
Oh, it's amazing how we form these opinions about places we've never been, often based on just snippets of information or media portrayals.
Right, like you were saying earlier,
Yeah.
Becker's echo chambers.
It's like the difference between reading a restaurant review
Oh,
and
yeah,
actually tasting the food yourself.
totally. I remember when I was planning my first trip to Japan,
Okay.
I had this image in my mind
Yeah.
of a super modern, high-tech society,
Uh-huh.
almost futuristic.
Right. That's a common perception.
It is. But when I actually got there,
Mm.
I was also struck by the deep traditions,
Oh,
the
interesting.
ancient temples, the respect for nature.
It's more than just technology.
It is. It was this beautiful blend of the old and the new.
That's cool.
And I hadn't fully grasped that before actually going there.
That makes sense.
It does, right.
Yeah, it's like travel adds this whole other dimension.
It does. It adds depth and nuance to our understanding.
Exactly. We often oversimplify things,
Yeah.
trying to fit them into neat little categories,
Mm-hmm.
but the world is way more complex than that.
It is. Full of contradictions.
Yeah.
And you can only really appreciate that complexity through direct experience.
Absolutely. There's always something unexpected waiting to be discovered.
There is. So as you think about that place you've been longing to visit,
Mm.
ask yourself, what biases or stereotypes might I unknowingly be holding on to?
Good question.
What stories have shaped my perception of that place?
And how might those stories differ from the reality on the ground?
Right. It could be something as simple as the food.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you think you wouldn't like the cuisine of a certain region,
Mm-hmm.
but then you go there and discover this whole world of flavors and textures.
Totally changes your perspective.
It does. Or maybe you've heard that a particular culture is reserved or distant,
Okay.
but then you experience firsthand the warmth and generosity of the people.
It's about being open to being surprised,
Yes. Open to having your assumptions challenged.
to realizing that you might have been wrong about something.
Even that. And that's okay.
It's all part of the learning process.
It is. And who knows, maybe in the process of challenging those preconceived notions,
Mm-hmm.
you'll discover something even more amazing.
I bet you would.
Something that completely transforms your understanding of that place and its people.
It happens all the time.
It does. Maybe you'll make a lifelong friend
That would be awesome.
or have a conversation that changes your perspective.
Or stumble upon some hidden gem.
Yes, that you never would have found otherwise.
That's the beauty of it.
It is. I think that's what makes travel so addictive.
Oh, yeah. Why do you think that is?
It's that constant sense of discovery,
Mm-hmm.
the possibility for surprise and wonder.
Keeps you on your toes.
Keeps us curious, keeps us engaged.
It's wanting to explore more.
Exactly. It's about embracing the unknown, letting go of those preconceptions.
And allowing yourself to be transformed by the experience.
And that transformation,
Yeah.
it can ripple outward.
How so?
It influences how we view the world, how we interact with others,
I see.
even how we live our own lives.
That's powerful.
It is. So to sum it all up,
Okay.
travel isn't just about ticking off destinations on a bucket list.
It's more than that.
It is. It's about personal growth,
Mm-hmm.
breaking down barriers,
Yeah.
and becoming more informed and engaged citizens of the world.
I like that.
Right. It's about fostering empathy, challenging assumptions, and embracing the transformative power of experience.
And like Mark Twain said, it's fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness.
He did. So get out there, explore the world, challenge your assumptions.
And embrace the power of travel.
That's it for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those adventurous spirits alive.